Hey there, I'm Alex the Mystic, and in today's YouTube video, we are going to actually take a fun little trip to a CBR video about Dragon Ball facts and kind of see if they know their shit or do not know their shit. So let's get right into it. I figured this would be a fun video to do because I'm a Dragon Ball nerd at heart, so why the fuck not? Let's go and get started with this shit.
Whether you grew up watching Dragon Ball Z on Toonami back in the 1990s, or you just recently went back to catch up on it after getting your first taste of Dragon Ball Super, if you're here, then you, like millions of fans, know what a weird, wild, wonderful show it is. And you probably also have questions. Why do some of the fights seem to drag on forever? How come Super Saiyans have blonde hair? And what is the deal with Piccolo? Well, wonder no more. We're here to give you a crash course. Here are 10 amazing Dragon Ball Z facts you probably didn't know. Blonde hair meant less work. Super Saiyans may vary in height, age, and personality, but they all have a few things in common. Incredible strength, a golden aura, and fabulous blonde hair. What you might not know is that the bright yellow updos were originally just a time-saving design choice for the team that put out the Dragon Ball manga.
So, okay. While this is correct to an extent, right? Because Toriyama did not want to, he did not want to take all the time to color in Goku's hair, so he tried to figure out a way. That is true, but this form is called Super Saiyan, and it's truly important to the story. Let's see what this guy has to say more.
In the black and white comics, blonde hair is represented by blank white space, meaning it doesn't have to be painstakingly inked in like a Saiyan's normal, non-super jet black hair. The fact that this shortcut eventually became an iconic look for the series is just a nice bonus. Goku always sounds the same in Japan.
Yeah, see, it's fucking dumb to me because it's like, there is way more to that. It's just one of those facts that are like, come on guys, get this shit right.
In the world of English DBZ subs, protagonist Son Goku is notorious for having been voiced by a staggering total of 12 different voice actors over the years. More people than you can count on both your hands. But in Japan, Goku has had the same voice actress since the very beginning of the original Dragon Ball anime back in 1986. Masako Nozawa. A living legend in her home country, she is now 80 years old and still voicing Goku and almost all of his relatives for Dragon Ball Super 3. DBZ has been publicly funded. Popular though Dragon Ball Z may be in North America, it's a legitimate phenomenon in its home country. So maybe it's no surprise then that Japan once provided a government grant of public funds to help finance a DBZ movie. The movie in question? 2013's Dragon Ball Z Battle of the Gods, which ended up being the first theatrically released Dragon Ball Z film in nearly 2 decades, and which is generally credited with rekindling interest in the series and kickstarting.
Hold on, now my memory, shout out to Geekdom 101, but the reason why Battle of Gods became a thing was because of the shit show that Dragon Ball Evolution gave. Right? That movie was so fucking bad that Toriyama decided to come back for another round. That's what pushed Toriyama to continue the series. Because of the shit scene that Evolution was, okay? So he was like, nah, fuck this, hold my beer, I'm gonna do it better. But then on top of that, I'm not sure if it was publicly funded. If anybody knows better than me, feel free to correct me on this. It's just one of those weird things, like, this channel, CBR, always gets this shit wrong, but it's just comedic to kind of shit all over their points here. So let's get moving.
Dragon Ball Super. Japan granted about $600,000 in US money to help make Battle of the Gods, an amount that's estimated to be a little more than 10% of the feature's overall budget. Actually, it's over 8,000. Even people who've never seen
this one is actually true.
Dragon Ball Z have probably heard someone yell, "It's over 9,000! It's over 9,000!"
So, this came a result of the Dragon Ball Z dub. when the Dragon Ball Z dub was translated through Ocean to Funimation, the transcribed contents of it, right, were kind of fucked up. So some things just didn't make as much sense here and there. So this is where the number kind of changed. Plus, also, it was more of a tactic from Funimation because 9,000 apparently sounds better. So let's see if this dude.
In a tone of exaggerated disbelief. It's one of the most iconic lines of dialogue from the 90s North American DBZ dub that many fans grew up with. But the 9,000 figure that achieved everlasting fame as an internet meme back in the mid-2000s was actually changed from the original numbers seen in the manga. What's more, nobody's really sure if the switch from 8,000 to 9,000 was a stylistic decision or just a mistranslation. In any case, superfans know that later English dubs of the show have corrected this figure, but we think everyone can agree that it's over 8,000 just doesn't have the same ring to it. The anime is just like the manga. The end of that story by the time the show got there.
Don't have 2K to drop on a gaming PC? How about that?
Forgot about launch. DBZ creator Akira Toriyama, like many of Japan's most famous mangaka, is a prolific writer who seems to be most at home when he's in motion, working on one of his stories. He doesn't slow down for much of anything. As a result, he's become infamous in the DBZ fan community for being very forgetful about Dragon Ball, despite having written all of it himself. He once forgot that there was a Super Saiyan level 2 between occasions. Toriyama's official explanation has been that he simply forgot about her. Dragon Ball has some seriously weird roots. There's more to DBZ's background than the Siyuchi, or Journey to the West. Fans know that this classic 16th century Chinese tale was a major source of inspiration for the setting and characters of Dragon Ball, especially Son Goku, who was based on the character Monkey. What most fans don't know is that the 7 Mystic Dragon Balls, after which the series is named, came from a much stranger Japanese story, Nanso Satomi Hakenden, or the 8 Dog Chronicles. Written around 200 years ago, this enormous 106-volume novel tells of a princess who, to be blunt, mates with her father's dog and gives birth to 8 magical balls, which then fly up into the air and shoot off in every direction. It's a pretty gross premise.
Okay, this one is absolutely bullshit, and I'll tell you why. Because out of okay. No, like...
So it's not hard to see why Akira Toriyama might have changed the number of balls to 7 in order to distance his series from the source material.
No.
Piccolo is just a kid. Though he's an adult by any practical standard, Goku's mortal enemy turned respected ally is actually only about 9 Earth years old at the start of Dragon Ball Z. In fact, all Namekians age very quickly.
No. We are not doing this, okay? Because, first of all, Piccolo is not that goddamn young. If you paid attention to the original run of Dragon Ball, okay, so the original anime manga versions of it, when Kid Goku fought King Piccolo, he blasted a hole right through his damn chest and Piccolo shot out that egg. By the World Tournament, the saga that follows instantly right the fuck after, Piccolo is an adult.
This is a bit clearer in the original Dragon Ball anime, where an adolescent Piccolo is seen fighting Goku only a few years after being hatched from the egg of his father, the evil King Piccolo, whom Goku had previously killed. However, it's never really explained in black and white at any point during either show, which can make the younger Piccolo's timeline a bit confusing for those not in the know. Semi-Perfect Cell was too dumb to stay semi-perfect. Yes, the infamous DBZ villain Cell got fast-tracked to his final form because the editor of the Dragon Ball manga thought the preceding form looked moronic. We can't argue with the guy. Semi-Perfect Cell doesn't exactly seem like a...
Okay, this one is a little bit true. Toriyama wanted to continue with this version of Cell, but they thought the perfect form was better.
Rhodes Scholar. The
Toei
editor's
so.
distaste and the pressure he put on Akira Toriyama to expedite the transformation process is why Vegeta allows Cell to attain his predictions play out in agonizing slowness, though we suspect most fans didn't really mind the change of pace. Vegeta almost never calls Goku Goku.
Well,
Most fans know that nearly every character name in Dragon Ball Z is based on some kind of wordplay. Raditz comes from the English word for radish.
Okay.
Chaozu is based on charsu, a Chinese-style dumpling, and so on. Obviously, Vegeta falls into this category as well, but Son Goku is more of a stretch, mostly based on Sun Wukong, Monkey's name in Journey to the West. Vegeta, however, almost completely refuses to acknowledge Goku's Earth name, instead referring to him by his Saiyan birth name, Kakarot, which is a play on the word carrot. Maybe Vegeta's a Saiyan purist, or maybe he just really likes puns. Whatever the case, DBZ's favorite bad boy only refers to Goku as Goku a total of 8 times in the entire DBZ series. So, which of these amazing...
So, yes, Vegeta always calls Goku Kakarot, okay, but that is because of his pride in the Saiyans, his memory. He refuses to call him by his Earth name because of the pride. So, like, let's not get it twisted. Let's see what more we can kind of shit on from these guys here. So, let's do CBR Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball, everything you need to know. Alright, we're gonna do this. I think it's get me off of this bitch.
Saiyans are an interesting and important part of the world of Dragon Ball. On top of being immensely powerful, Saiyans are rather particular, with most if not all Saiyans following specific patterns in their biology, behavior, and everything in between. This is to say that there are some things that pretty much every Saiyan does, be it by choice, coincidence, or otherwise. Let's take a look at all the things that Saiyans have in common, shall we? Saiyans have a sort of weird aging process. Even before we knew he was an alien, Goku was shown to stay the same size for over 4 years, finally having the appearance of a teenager when he reached his 20s. While we doubt this was planned ahead of time, it was eventually revealed that Goku as a Saiyan ages slower, a biological trait that allows Saiyans to remain at their peak physical prowess for a longer period of time. This means all Saiyans age slowly, and we don't just mean their aging slows down when they reach adulthood. They also take a long time to grow from children to teenagers to adults. A fact that can be seen in Goku appearing to only be in his late 20s or early 30s despite being almost 50, as well as Goten and Trunks still looking like kids. Like we said, this is something that all Saiyans have in common, since they evolved to be powerful warriors, and aging slower would allow them to fight longer, a fact that Vegeta revealed in the epilogue of DBZ. It might not exactly be immortality, but it's close, and we'd definitely trade being a late bloomer for a few extra decades of looking and feeling so young. Saiyans are notorious for their insane appetites. This is another one that started as a weird element of the original Dragon Ball series. So we can't say it was planned all along, but still, it's well known that all Saiyans love to eat. It makes sense for any powerful warrior to require a ton of calories, but Saiyans are particularly ravenous. Their massive power, strength, and...
The problem with CBR is they go after these dumbass, like, duh, everybody knows these facts, because these journalists do not do their goddamn job with Dragon Ball. They do not actually know Dragon Ball, so they focus on this type of shit.
Energy output, requiring them to put restaurants out of business with how much they can put away in a single sitting. Case in point, during the 25th World Martial Arts Tournament, Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan. There's the fact that Goku was once shown shopping for horse meat, implying that he and Goten eat so much that Chi-Chi opts to go for the cheap stuff, but that's just our theory. Regardless, there's no denying how much a introduced into the series. Take Goku's tail. There was never any real reason stated as to why Goku had a tail, but we know it was the reason why he...
Now, there is, but it's not in the anime itself. So, Goku is based off of Sun Wukong, okay? So, he was a monkey boy. So, way before Dragon Ball's anime and manga came out, there was a demo where Goku had a tail, okay? And he was supposed to be like half monkey boy. So that is really the reason.
Turned into a giant ape monster during the full moon. We also know that Goku's tail was incredibly sensitive, nearly paralyzing him in pain whenever it was grabbed. We eventually learned that this is a weakness that all Saiyans have, though they can train themselves to get over it. However, both because of the sensitivity of their tails and the fact that it's said to be the source of their power, containing the glands needed to transform into a great ape, Saiyan warriors are sure to keep their tails safe and out of harm's way, doing so by wrapping it around their waist like a belt. One of the coolest design choices in the entire franchise. Form and function. Strangely enough, Gohan was never depicted having his tail grabbed, so we don't know if half-breeds have the same weakness as full-blood.
No, Gohan wasn't depicted with his tail being grabbed because of the fact that when he transformed in the Saiyan saga, right, Piccolo blew up the goddamn moon. So there was no reason for him to have it grabbed, and then Piccolo also cut the tail off, which it would later grow back when they faced
Saiyans. Though the fact that Gohan had so much potential because he was half-human might suggest it wasn't as sensitive.
That has no basis in reality, bud.
While Saiyans are born with a naturally sensitive tail, it's not something that can hinder their power their entire lives. In fact, most Saiyan warriors learn very early how to overcome the overwhelming pain that's caused by having their tail grabbed. By training hard and enduring a ton of pain, an experienced Saiyan warrior can overcome the limits that their tail can cause them. This isn't the only weakness that all Saiyans have the potential to overcome. They also have the ability to control their great ape forms. See, most Saiyans go completely berserk whenever they look at the full moon and turn into a great ape. The form is so powerful and so primal that it causes a Saiyan to lose all sense of themselves, as evidenced by all of Goku and Gohan's transformations. However, when Vegeta broke out his great ape form, something was different. He was still himself, and he could still speak despite being in a form that normally drives a Saiyan berserk. This is because, like with their tail weakness, a Saiyan is able to gain control over their great ape form, given time and proper training. But a berserker great ape is still much more dangerous than a trained one.
Okay.
The more we think about it, Akira Toriyama did a pretty awesome job connecting all of Goku's powers and attributes to his Saiyan heritage. This video is full of examples, but one particularly interesting one is the fact that Goku got stronger with every battle. A notion that one could interpret as that which doesn't kill him only makes him stronger. This was explored further during the Saiyan and Frieza sagas of Dragon Ball Z, since Vegeta explained that when a Saiyan is on the brink of death following a battle, as long as they survive, they'll gain the strength needed to overcome the power of the opponent that put them in the near-death state to begin with. It's a pretty nifty power that can be seen throughout the entire.
So he didn't explicitly say that it was a situation where he would be able to overcome that foe. The idea was, in the Namek saga, for Krillin to give him the fatal blows and then have Dende heal him. Well, what actually happened and why he was doing that was to abuse the Zenkai system to get more power to try and fight Frieza. Okay? So it wasn't necessarily to make him just as strong as Frieza, but to make him stronger enough to challenge Frieza.
Series, like in the Frieza saga when Goku gained a massive power-up after almost dying and then recovering in the healing chamber. Suffice it to say, a Saiyan's greatest strength is their ability to overcome that which once brought them close to death. And thanks to Senzu Beans, Goku and Vegeta have had quite a few of those kinds of power-ups all throughout the franchise. Which is sort of cheating when you really think about it.
Want to save $1,000 guaranteed? Switch 4 mobile lines to Spectrum and we'll give you free fiber-powered internet forever. Plus
Well, first of all, and I want to address this point too, they never really used Senzu Beans to that extent. Now, let me clarify what I mean. The times we see them use Senzu Beans is Goku uses it first in Dragon Ball Z to get Krillin and Gohan healed up so then that way they could get out of there. Past that, we don't really have any Senzu being used until I don't know why I'm blanking on his name, but until they're grown by Master Korin, right? And then past that, Goku abuses them on the way to Namek, right? But then past that, we don't really see them return until the Cell Saga, Android Saga, where it is used sporadically after a fight, but not necessarily with the intent of abusing the Zenkai boost. The Zenkai boosts even fade out over time, so like later in Super, the Zenkai boost really doesn't do very much to them. It kind of, yeah, it's still there, but it doesn't do much for their power level.
Goku is something of an odd duck amongst Saiyans. Instead of being violent, bloodthirsty, and completely lacking in empathy, Goku is kind-hearted, willing to
Because he hit his head as a child.
stand up for others, and throughout many points in the franchise, downright heroic. Part of this has to do with the fact that his adoptive grandfather Gohan raised him to be a gentle-hearted martial artist. But the main reason that Goku is so unlike other Saiyans is, well, because he fell on his head as a baby. Yeah, that's right, the moral alignment of Dragon Ball's greatest hero is the result of an old man dropping a baby he once found in the woods. Were it not for that head injury, Goku would have retained his aggressive, mean-spirited personality, a personality that all Saiyans seems to naturally have. This is a result of both their battle-thirsty nature, naturally being prone to aggressive behavior, and the harsh and Saiyan culture revolved around stamping down the weak and using power as a means of determining who are the greatest among them, is that Saiyans just love to fight. While this part of their physiology isn't malicious by nature, it ended up contributing to their society's violent and aggressive hierarchy. Although Goku would go on to be an example of how a Saiyan can love battle but not be a total jerk about it.
So this is partly true, okay? So yes, Saiyans do love battle, they do love training, but their lifestyle has a lot to do with it, because they would destroy a civilization on another planet and then hop over and sell that planet to make a profit.
To say, Saiyans as a species that evolved to fight have an innate love for combat, something that can be seen in both Goku and Vegeta, but not in the half Saiyans. Again, it's not necessarily that Saiyans are mean and just like starting fights, they just enjoy the sport of fighting, something that can be seen whenever Goku challenges a strong. In fact, that's sort of the entire premise of Battle of Gods. Goku is the best example of Saiyans loving battle, since he's very vocal about wanting to fight strong opponents, as evidenced by the fact that he's the reason for the tournament.
The whole premise for the Battle of the Gods was to not only, like I said before earlier in this video, to kind of rewrite the wrongs of Dragon Ball Evolution when that was done so damn poorly, but also to advance the story to a new area that Dragon Ball has never been. The whole premise was deities finding new ways for Goku and friends to kind of level up, that sort of thing.
Of power taking place. Saiyan culture favored strength, and because of this, there was little room for love when it came to reproduction. It was just about creating a powerful offspring to add to the Saiyan army. In fact, Saiyan men and women are pretty much wired to be attracted to strong-willed mates, a fact that Vegeta revealed when he and Goku shared a moment in which they bonded over their.
That is true. So, I guess my takeaway from watching these videos with y'all is just to kind of have something fun to post. I want to do this type of content more often. I want to be able to record and make sure that, you know, we can have a fun time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Yeah, don't fucking count your information on CBR. Like, just don't do it. They suck. But that is that. Thank you guys for watching.